My name is Brett Kramer, and this is my final project for curriculum and instruction for the summer of 2012. For a digital assignment that I can use in class, I've chosen a government class, and this is an assignment I've looked at doing in the past, but as I've probably said in some of my message board posts, I get a little bit skittish sometimes about technology and expanding my horizons, and I get a little bit scared of using it because sometimes it's great, sometimes it doesn't work so well. But this is one I am looking at doing in the future, and I think that if I can get things sorted out, that it'll be a very advantageous thing for my students and probably for me as well. I call it Presidential Madness. I've assigned this in the past as a paper, which is clearly not any kind of digital production of any kind, but so I have some basis for what I want as far as students doing the work. Now the product will be a little bit different if I do it as I'll talk about moving forward, but I again have done it as a paper in the past, and in the future I'll hopefully be able to do this as a video that I'll talk about. The target students are seniors in American government, and it would be done during the unit on the executive branch. The objectives of this assignment, there's a number of these. First, to analyze two presidencies by gathering information and thinking critically, to compare two presidencies by analyzing findings and thinking critically, to contrast two presidencies by analyzing findings and thinking critically. The long and short of this is what I have the students do is I have them draw. Well, I've done it differently through the last 4 years that I've done this, but the way I've found that it works best is they're all assigned two presidents. I found that if I have them randomly draw two of them, I mean both of their presidents, sometimes you get some kids who end up with two. I don't want to call any president a dud, but tell it like it is. There are some presidents that they're not going to find a lot of information on. So I let every one of them pick one president, and then I have them draw randomly the other one. And what they'll do is they will detail the presidency of President A, detail the presidency of President B, and then compare and contrast the two of them. And then at the very end, and I think the objectives touch on this a little more, they will choose the better president by weighing the facts about the presidencies and thinking critically. It's called Presidential Madness because I usually do it in the spring, because at Junction City High School, government has been a year-long class for as long as I've been there. I'll be at Topeka High this fall, starting this fall, and it is a semester class. So I guess if I do it in the fall, the title Presidential Madness doesn't make a lot of sense because it won't be able to take place right around the NCAA tournament, which, as many of us know, is called March Madness by a lot of people. But I'll deal with that when I get to it, I guess. But the end result here, the goal here, is for them to choose a better president. Which one, if this was a competition, which one would come out on top? Which one would be the champion? However you want to look at it. And they do this by doing all these things: researching the presidents, weighing facts about both presidencies, and thinking critically. Like I said in the past, a kid might draw randomly both presidents and get two that they're just not going to have any information on. That's why I let them draw one and pick one, and that way they'll get, they can't complain. There's one of them that they cannot complain about. And anyway, so at the end of it, the goal there is to choose the better president. And then they've done this as a paper in the past. I have kind of messed around a little bit with Windows Movie Maker. I think it's a pretty neat program if I can figure out just exactly how it works. Sometimes it seems a little bit quirky, and maybe that's because I'm not very tech savvy, but Windows Movie Maker is just a program. It's exactly what it sounds like it is. Kids can make videos with sound, still frames, there could be motion. It's someone once told me it's kind of like PowerPoint on steroids, and I guess I get that, but it's a souped up version of PowerPoint. I think is what they were trying to say. Then that can serve them very well, and me as well, because let's just, again, tell it like it is here. It's not really that much fun to grade 90 term papers well, at any time of the year. And watching these movies, if they get them submitted correctly and everything, could be a lot more fun way for me to grade after they've had what hopefully would be a fun experience doing the project compared to writing a term paper. The assignment meets the objectives by kind of the ways I've talked about a little bit already. There's analysis that the kids will do after they find information on the presidents that they research. They'll analyze their findings and compare and contrast those findings, and they're challenged to make the decision about who's the better president. I'll get kids who have opted to, well, it was a tie, or it was just so close I couldn't pick. Well, that's not the point here. The point is for you to pick out one of the two that is better and tell me exactly why. So, of course they'll get docked for not doing the assignment as it's supposed to be done, but most of them, that's not a problem. And then finally, of course, there's advantages for experiencing new technology. Again, I'm not sure who's going to benefit more, them or me, because like I've said in every class I've taken, if there's been the topic of technology, I'm not tech savvy. I'm only 28, so I'm looked at as a young teacher who's supposed to have all this ability with technology, and I don't, and I need to. Not just because I'm a young teacher and I'm supposed to, but because one of my aunts is an educator, and she's been in an administrative position for the last 5 or 6 years. She simply says, I'm going to get left behind if I don't just accept the fact that I need to broaden my horizons dealing with technology. So like I said, I think that, of course, the kids will benefit, but I think I really will as well if I'm able to pull this off as planned. There are a couple of ways that this assignment aligns with curriculum for American government. Benchmark 2 from the Kansas State Department of Education website with all of the standards, benchmarks, and indicators says that the student understands the shared ideals and diversity of American society and political culture. This is the reason that aligns with the assignment, is because I've encouraged the students in the past to talk about what's going on in society during this president's presidency, or couple of terms, I guess I should say, if it's someone that served 2 terms. They're encouraged to look at the overlap between the economy and the president's actions, and as well as citizens' actions, spending and other things that might impact our economy. I didn't list economics as any benchmarks, or I didn't reference any standards from economics, because the course is technically American government, even though they encourage us to embed some econ in there as well. But I stuck with civics and governments for the standards. The second benchmark, is a little bit loosely tied to or loosely aligned with this assignment. Benchmark 5 says the student understands various systems of government and how nations and international organizations interact. This is similar to benchmark number 2, because I've encouraged them in the past to address foreign relations as well as many of the other things that they're encouraged to talk about in their papers. And of course, in dealing with other countries, other countries are going to have different ideals and a different way of doing things, and so that'll impact the way that they respond to us when we try to deal with them, and vice versa. They're saying the same thing about us right now. The way that we run our government, of course, influences the way that we deal with other countries, and so that's why benchmark number 5 is included here. The way that kids should be able to demonstrate an understanding, the higher order thinking is the big one here, because it's really easy for students to go ahead and try to just cough up a bunch of facts that they've read on, hopefully not Wikipedia, but of course some of them still try to do that. they'll come up with facts from hopefully good sources and analyze them, and like the second one talks about analysis, excuse me, but present analysis is applicable to the first one, and in that they will get this information, they'll analyze what it means, why the president that they're dealing with was good or bad in office, and they're allowed to make an opinion on that. And I think that's one of the nice things about this. There's some autonomy to the assignment. Future analysis has to do with, well, you know, if they've looked at this president and that president from the past, maybe they will be more inclined to look at some of the actions of current presidents, or current president, I guess, and especially leading up to an election this fall. I'm trying to get them a little bit more involved in what's going on, to think critically about politics as it affects them today, not necessarily just historically. And finally, and that's a good way to transition into the last one here, civic participation is a very important thing. I've told the kids forever that they need to be involved citizens. I hope they exercise their right to vote. I know this fall I'll have some kids who are 18 and old enough to vote, and so I'm going to encourage them to do so, and I'll encourage all of the rest of them to vote when they're old enough to. I think it's too important. We have the opportunity to voice our opinions, and so many people don't do it. Well, there's lots of countries out there that they don't have the chance to do it, and they would kill for this opportunity, and it would sicken them to know that we don't always capitalize or take advantage, I guess I should say, of that opportunity. And so civic participation is another way that I think kids can demonstrate an understanding after having done this assignment. The very last thing I want to say is that the sources that I used for this assignment came from the Kansas State Department of Education website, as well as the course textbook.